Hey you guys, it's Sarah and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how I put together my caterpillar life cycle activity page. So it comes with a little caterpillar and you can flip the cocoon over and it comes with a little butterfly. So children, and there's the little caterpillar egg up top there. So kids can play with the little caterpillar and the butterfly and help the caterpillar build his cocoon. And then when they flip it over, they can see that that little guy turns into a butterfly. So it's a really cute page. It's super simple to put together. Let me show you how to do that. Stay to the end. I'll show you the template, which will be available on my Patreon in both SVG and JPEG format, as well as both in bulk to make multiple copies at once, or to just do a single copy. I'll have both of them available on there. Thanks so much, you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy Busy Books as much as I do, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's get started. As always, I am using an 8" by 8" sheet of felt, and I'm using my nice stiff 1.2 millimeter Korean felt for this page and for all the pieces. Let's begin. You can see I've got all the pieces cut out already. I'm going to begin with just adding a little bit of hot glue onto the back of this black butterfly, just to kind of hot glue it in place and give the piece a little bit of stiffness and structure. But I'm not going to add hot glue around the border. I'm going to actually go ahead with my white thread and sew around the border. And then I'm going to do the same with the caterpillar here. I've already got my pieces kind of laid out. I'm going to use a bit of hot glue to glue them in place, the yellow and the light green pieces onto the dark green background. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew around the border of all the pieces. So I'm not going to put hot glue near the ends of all these little pieces. And a little tip of what I do, I just wanted to show you guys this sheet. Here's the yellow sheet of all of those caterpillar pieces. I don't take them all out right away. I actually leave them in there and leave them hanging on by a thread, just so that later when I'm assembling all of the pages, I don't have to try to look at them and figure out which one is the biggest and goes at the top and which one is the smallest. If you kind of leave them sitting in the cutouts there, it's just really quick and easy to see it. Same with the green pieces. I do that with those as well. So I'm going to they should all fit together pretty nicely. I'm going to hot glue them down and then sew around the borders for both of those. And then I'll also just hot glue down these orange pieces onto the butterfly. I'll hot glue those on, and then I have 2 white circles and 2 black circles for the eyes for each of them. I'll hot glue those down as well. And fun fact, these little white and black circles, these are the same ones that I used for the cutouts for lots of other pages. So for the finger puppets and for a ton of other pages that I do. So they're kind of a standard size for eyes in the pages that I do. So yeah, they're included in the template, but you may already have them cut out if you are like me and you make these in bulk and you have leftover pieces from the finger puppets. Okay, and that's what the caterpillar and the butterfly look like when they're all assembled. I went a little heavy and pushed too hard on the hot glue, so unfortunately it kind of soaked through in the center there. You can see it. So just be careful not to do that. Normally I just go a lot lighter, but for some reason I was pushing a little too hard and the hot glue soaked through. But I've sewn around the border, and they both have a similar look so that little kids can kind of see like the shape of the head and the style of each of them, and their eyes are similar, so hopefully little kids can grasp that it's the same creature, just transformed. And so that's what they look like. And the next thing I'm going to do is grab the cocoon. So there's 3 pieces for it. There is the center piece, which is the whole brown oval shape there, and then there's a little pocket on each side of the cocoon. So I'm just going to put each of those pocket pieces in place, make sure they all line up, and I'm going to go ahead and sew around that border. Now that I've got that cocoon all sewn with the 2 pockets on each side, I'm going to go ahead and sew down the branch just at the top of the tree, and I'll also sew down a bunch of these leaves. I'll probably just put a pair here and maybe 1 here. I have 5 leaves designated for each page, and when I sew them down, I'm not going to sew them down all the way, I'm just going to put a little stitch right at the bottom, just right here and here and here, so that the leaves still kind of lift off the page. So let's go ahead and sew the branch down and sew down the leaves. Okay, that's what it looks like with those all sewn on. I also have another one of those white circles. It's the exact same size as the eyes, so don't worry about confusing the caterpillar egg with the eyes. They're all the same shapes and the same sizes. I'm just going to hot glue that down onto one of the leaves. That way we have the very beginning stage of the life cycle of the butterfly. So that'll be hot glued on there. And then finally, last but not least, the only other thing I have to do to complete this page is I'm just going to use a needle and some nice thick thread, and I'm just going to attach the cocoon to the page. And all I do for that is just push my needle through, pull it down to the other side, and I'll just push it about right here in the middle of the page, just underneath the branch so that it's hanging. I'll pull it through on the other page. I'm going to cut that off, and I'll use this again on the other 7 pages that I have to do. And I want to leave a little bit of slack so that kids can actually turn the cocoon over. And so with that, I'll just tie a knot at the back. Okay, I have knotted that thread, and if you know me, you know that I'm a little bit OCD sometimes. So I'm going to apply a little bit of hot glue on that just to help really keep it in place and make sure it never comes out. And then I'm going to attach that to another 8" by 8" sheet of felt, and I've already gone ahead and wrapped that sheet of felt in a nice piece of fabric. And so that's going to be the back side of my page. If you're new to my channel, this is how I make busy books. I only make them one-sided. And then for the back side, I just use a lower quality of felt that I get from Amazon, just a stiff felt. It's not as nice as the Korean felt, but that's okay because I'm just using it for the back side. So I clip those all in place, and then I have a 2 or 3 millimeter thick piece of felt that I cut out by hand using my scalloped edge fabric scissors. And I just cut it big enough to fit in between that front and back page, and I'm going to go ahead and sew around that border. And here's what that looks like with it all sewn around the border. I did just have to be careful to lift the leaves as I sew so that I'm not sewing them down. And then last but not least, I'm going to take my heavy duty hole punch, and I just use this to put 2 holes in my binding piece. And then that is what I use to connect activity pages and make custom busy books for my customers. And I just use binder rings to hold the books together. So here's how it looks. They have the cocoon that stays attached, but kids can kind of swing it. They have their little egg and the caterpillar that builds the cocoon and goes inside, and then when they flip it over, there will be the little butterfly on the other side so they can see that transformation. Okay, thanks so much you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And very quickly before you guys go, this is the bulk template. I'm saying bulk in quotations. It makes 8 sets at once. That's how I make this page. And so this is what will be shared on my Patreon. Let me just show you what it looks like. Each of these templates are meant to fit on a 12" by 12" or 30" by 30" cutting mat, because that seems to be the standard size for most cutting machines. It's certainly the standard size for the Cricut. And so you will need 12" by 12" sheets of felt. This first one that I have, I could only fit 1 set of the cocoon on a 12" by 12" brown sheet of felt. And so I have the front and the back side, and then just the middle piece of the cocoon on there. So if I'm making 8 sets of this, I cut this out 8 different times. And then here is another template. It is in a lighter brown shade, or a golden brown shade is what I call it. It cuts out 8 copies of that tree branch. You can see this light green template. It cuts out 8 copies of all those green, the light green caterpillar pieces. And then in this regular green, each page has 5 leaves. And so 1 cut on this regular green sheet of felt will give you enough for 4. So I cut that out twice, and then that gives me enough for my set of 8. Same with this black outline of the butterfly and the white outline of the butterfly. So in the black one, you see there's 4. There's enough for 4 black butterflies. And then there's enough for 4 sets of eyes for both the caterpillar and the butterfly. So I cut that out twice on 2 black sheets of felt. And then I cut this one out twice on 2 white sheets of felt. And that gives me enough for my 8 sets. And you can see as well, there's enough white circles in there for all of the eyes, as well as all of the caterpillar eggs, or for 4 sets of them. Then we have 8 copies in the orange here of all of the cutouts for the butterfly wings. So just 1 cut gives you enough for 8. And then I use a smaller sheet of felt. I just use an 8" by 8" sheet of felt to cut out those yellow pieces for the caterpillar, because they don't take up much space. And so just one of those cuts on a smaller sheet of felt will give you enough for 8. So that's the bulk template that will be available, so you can save those and upload them to your cutting machine. And then I will also have just the single-use template available as well. So this just saves you a little bit of time if you're only wanting to make a single copy of this page. That way you don't have to save all of these templates and then delete the extra copies. If you're just wanting to do a single copy for your own child or for a child in your life, the single-use template is available here. And so it will indicate in the captions of the photos what to adjust the size to, and then you can just separate them by color. You can change the colors. It's totally up to you. Okay, and that's it. Thanks again, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.